Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. You can call me Mike too if you want to. It's all good. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called Summer Pond. It is I think it's a 7 by 14. Pretty sure. Maybe it's a 6 by 12. Well, I don't know if I pay a little more attention. It's either 6 by 12 or 7 by 14. One of those two. And I just did this last week, and very interesting. Before we get into that, let's just talk about what we're doing. So we're painting on some hardboard. It looks like there's nothing on it, but there is. There's two coats of transparent gesso, and I like painting on that hardboard color. It's pretty groovy. I like painting on the more of a solidly painted surface as well. You'll see me do both. I did do just strictly hardboard for quite a long time, though. That brown color does support what I do very well. Um, what you see me doing now is working with the underpainting, and that's predominantly burnt umber, a little bit of perylene black slash green in it, and a little bit of like a rose madder too to just kind of balance it out. Now I really like the burnt umber for the underpaintings because it dries fairly quickly. So if a lot of times when I do an underpainting, I don't know if I'll be able to get into it, finish it that same day. And if not, I want to be able to get into it the very next day, and in that case, I need it to be dry. If it's still tacky or weird or wet, then I have to wait, maybe another week or so for it to get completely dry. Otherwise, it just creates a big mess. Yeah, so this scene, that's what I was going to start talking about. This is based on a photo I took back in, gosh knows. Um, I probably took the photo back in 2009 or so. And there's these ponds that not that far from where I lived, and definitely not that far from where I was working at the time. And I would ride my bike through there, and it was always very lovely. They were perk ponds, they were called, so they would use these for the surrounding farms and things they'd fill them with water and then release the water and what have you. Anyway, almost all of my earliest paintings were of this area there. So I have painted the scene before. I painted it probably in 2009. And I think I took another stab at it as like a 5 by 7 or 8 by 10, where I just kind of closed in a bit more on that tree and the pond itself. And I remember being frustrated with that painting. I'm pretty happy with this painting. The one thing it did present, and funny enough, it's just like the painting I did right after it, where because of the composition, you're sort of left with like this almost rectangular area in the sky. That's going to be need to be filled with something so that the composition is all balanced, and the sky is going to be the key to solving that problem. And that was very much the case of the one I painted yesterday as well. And I think I did pretty well on this one. I think I even did even better on that one I did yesterday, which of course means nothing to you since we're not looking at that painting, so we won't go any further with that. Composition, man, it's so much, and we talked a lot about composition on this channel, so I'm not going to get into that right now. What I kind of want to get into though is what comes before composition, what comes before even doing a painting. And this is a middle of the week video, so get ready for some philosophy. Yeah. Now you might be saying, oh god, philosophy, I don't care about philosophy, just tell me what kind of brush you're using. Well, right there I'm using a relatively new Robert Simmons number 4, but that's always a factor, of course. But you know you a good artist, a good painter, could make a good painting with almost any brush. Yes, some brushes are going to work much better than others for some applications, but as is the case with the pigments you're using or the board you're painting on or any of these factors. But the fact of the matter is that in spite of all that, in spite of the techniques used, the technology employed, The most critical part of any artwork is why it's being created. Now, this is falling under the category philosophy, and I'm kind of waffling a bit because I know we're going to have an ad for the book coming up very soon, so no sense in getting too involved with that. In fact, let's just starting on the book. The book shipped a book out this week, and I'm so happy and thrilled to be sending it all over the planet. I would say if you ordered a book, just keep in mind if you look on the globe and you look where New Zealand is, that's where it's coming from. Okay, and it can take a couple weeks at times. And maybe usually it doesn't take more than that, but it's international shipping, so just keep that in mind. But $60 US, international shipping is included, and I do that so you don't have to worry about it. You just order your book and it will show up, and I'll make sure it does. Yeah. Now, we were talking about why are you making a painting? Well, it's a lot of reasons. First of all, most people don't care about things like making paintings. They got their jobs or their works or their hobbies. Maybe they've got hobbies. Maybe their hobby is just looking at their phone. It seems like it's a lot of people's hobbies these days, or gaming, which I can go on record here of saying I think gaming is a colossal waste of time because you can expend a ton of effort, but what do you got to show for it? Oh, by the way, you're going to see the painting tilting a little bit. That's was the blue tack was kind of starting to give, and then you'll see me support it. So don't let that throw you off. That little bit of a tilt. We'll be fixing it. Yeah. So why are you making a painting? Well, I'm not even going to get into the whys. I can tell you why I make paintings. I make paintings because I need to make something, and I want to make something that has a certain vibration to it, a beautiful, poetic, and almost magical or mysterious approach to nature. That's what I like to do, and I do a lot of it. I do it quite consistently, so it's easy for me. In that it's only easy for me, I'll tell you what, it's easy for me because I do it every week, all the time. Not every day, but all the time. That's what I'm after. So I'm shooting for beauty, but not beauty in a way that's disposable or lacking in substance or lacking in philosophical depth. Okay. Now I don't like to bring narrative into my work, and that's a big part of what I'm about because um, you should be providing the narrative. You are the narrative. Every human being is their own walking, talking narrative. So you don't need extra narrative from me. I prefer to present you with a space that you can occupy. Now, is this a great goal? It's okay. I'm not here to really say which goals are better than other goals, but I will say I think one of the ways that a lot of artists go wrong is they're not taking their inspiration from uplifting or beautiful things. They're taking inspiration from low things, and wherever you are putting your attention is the kind of thing that you're going to be producing. So if you want to produce something beautiful and uplifting, you need to put your attention and focus there. And I might give you a bit of advice, say before you start painting, maybe just take a moment and center yourself and just say to the universe, hey, I want to make a beautiful painting here, and any help you could give me would be appreciated. Why not? It probably will work better than the opposite, which is like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just going to do something, or whatever. So, know why you're painting. It doesn't need to be a groundbreaking reason. I just want to make something nice. Is a pretty good reason to paint, I think. I just want to make something nice. Well, making something nice does take some effort. You can't really fake it. So that could take you years to actually produce something nice, or maybe it'll come very easily to you. That's the first thing. So why are you making art? And then the next thing is what is the purpose of your art in the world? Is it to beautify someone's home? Is it just because you needed to make something? Maybe a bit of both. Maybe you're a commercial artist like I was, so I would we need an illustration of X, Y, or Z, and we're gonna pop it on a mug or a T-shirt or a calendar or whatever. Okay, well that was a reason to make art, and art was made. These days, there's a lot of art hanging around that people could basically grab and use for just about anything, I think. So that is a reason for making art is kind of starting to move into the rearview mirror for most of us. Um, what do you want your art to do in the world? Well, beautify people's homes, maybe just bring a little bit of a light wherever it's hanging, right? Yeah, and then the last bit here, how you gonna get the art to the people? You think, well, I don't want to worry about that. I just want to paint. Well, that's fine too. Actually, that's totally fine because maybe you're just a hobbyist. Maybe you're just somebody who wants to paint for themselves, and there ain't no worries there. But I think if you let's just say that is the case for you, you're just painting for yourself. But next thing you know, you're working hard at it. You're making a painting a day. You've got 200 or 300 paintings. Trust me, you're gonna want to start getting these out in the world in some way, shape, or form. And what I would say there is, don't that impetus there is very healthy, very natural, and nothing bad comes from it in and of itself. But if you go too far into that, you can get lost, and you can get lost to the point where these original ideas, like why you want to create art, what you want to make, and what you want it to do in the world, become subsumed by, well, this is what the world wants, and this is I got a place I can sell this, and I'm going to go and do this, and I need to be successful and make money with my art, and etc., and so on and so forth. That's the kind of things that those are all factors, and they will arise if you work industriously. So you should have a thought or care about that too. And I'm not saying I'm not. This is not your art marketing channel. I'm not the guy to say, well, you need to have a Facebook, and you need to do this, and you need to build your mailing list. I have a mailing list. I try and build it, and every now and again I might send people something. But more and more I was actually talking about some of this at the end of the last video. More and more, I'm rejecting a lot of that because it's getting in the way of the reasons for making art, which is to make something beautiful and enduring and to actually get better at doing that thing, And really, we got just a minute left in the video, and I know it's been real rambly. It's a middle of the week video. Just keep in mind, you can always just watch me put the painting together, put some music on, turn the volume off. Yeah. But I know why I'm making paintings, and I've run into these issues. I have lots of paintings. I've got to find some homes for them. But I don't need to worry too much about that. Because if I worry too much about that, I will get away from what is beautiful, essential, and precious about making art, which is the way it connects us to the universe and to the culture and to other people. I am famous for saying that the world doesn't really need your paintings. But that's actually being a bit facetious. I mean that more from a commercial sense. From a more spiritual sense, what you're doing is absolutely critical. And even if you create something that is incredibly beautiful that very few people, if anyone, ever sees, the universe knows it. It's there. It has been done, and you have done it, and that's perfectly acceptable. If you say, well, I just want to make beautiful things and I don't need to sell them, I would address that idea, though. You will at some point need to move things out. How, where, when, why? Well, a lot of times you could leave that up for the universe. You can say, well, I'm open to it. And I'm lucky I have kind of a publicly accessible studio. So every now and again, a gallery owner or somebody like that will come in and say, oh, I want to carry your work. And I say, well, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, very rambly video. Thank you for that. Philosophy, though, is so critical. What you're thinking about, what you're dwelling on, that's what your art is made out of. So don't discount it, and don't think it's all just techniques or skills that are acquired. One of the main things you need to acquire is a bit of philosophy that you can apply to your art. Anyway, until I come back with another video for your edification, hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family, and fight the power.